Right now I've looked online on splicing, and I'm not keen on some of the splices. They're more square down and square, as against that is a proper mitre, is that, for a window or a door frame where you're at 45 degrees there and 45 degrees here. So in other words, if you've got it square there and square here, the wood moves, and it will show more. The joint will show. Not only that, with it being square on, once it's been in a while, and you've got a slight, and the paint starts to crack, you're going to get water in there. As against if it's sloping like that, it's deflected off more. And not only that, you don't see the joint the same. Like you get some people even doing skirting board where they have it butted up to each other, as against mitered like that. So actually, if you're looking at it, it should be that way around. So your corner should be there, so you don't see the mitre, because it's facing away from you. Normally you do this half central, but in this case they've like put a wooden frame in and then put another one behind it, and not only that, it's got cement in and mastic and God knows what in, which I'm going to have to cut out. But that's how a proper mitre should be for splicing. So in other words, you cut your frame off straight off there, cut back there, and then chisel out here, or sew out there, depending what it is. So I'll show you where they're going to go. I've got 2 points, both sides of my garage door have gone, so I'm going to splice these in and put a damp proof course up the back, which is not on, so that's partly why some of them go, because there's no DPC on it. Right, if you see down in the corner there, that's all gone, so that's where it's going to go, down there. So I've marked it out, so so it's going to go in. So it's going to go in like that. So I'm going to cut that straight across there, then cut across here and go down. But if you notice, the frame finishes here, frame finishes there, and then I've got mastic in the back there, and above I've got wood there. So I'll get that out and we'll have a look at it again. I've got the same problem on the other side as well, so there I've got another piece to go in on that side there. Obviously that piece of wood's the wrong way around to go in, but you can see how it's filled with cement down at the bottom there, and it's totally rotten. So I've got 2 to do, but with it being a garage and an up over door, I've braced the door just in case when I cut it down that it's not solid enough on that side there, and the up and over door comes crashing down on top of me. That's looking from the inside out, and as you can see the concrete up the back, and then the piece of wood above it. So obviously I'll have to chop that lot out. This is cement I'm pulling out. Right, don't try doing it this way unless you're really confident with a chainsaw. I've got a mirror on the other side so I can see where my mark is. I'm just going to cut some slices across with a chainsaw, be quicker, and then take it out with a chisel. Just move my mirror up a bit. There we are, so that's it cut out. Now it's time for the chisel. Right, it's looking somewhere near now, so I'm going to finish it off, straighten it off a bit with the rebate plane. Right, so let's see if it fits. I want to take a bit of cement out at the bottom because obviously it was uneven at the bottom there. And I've also taken this concrete and mastic out of the back. fits perfectly, does that. And it's in line as well. Excellent. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have to machine a piece for you before I fix it. Because I need to get that in first before I put about five screws in there, and then drill one right through into the wall there. But also DPC up the back. Well, in fact, I'll take that right up there when I get that piece, when I cut a piece to go in there. So that's my next job, is to well, what I'll do is I'll put this in position, nip down to works, cut a piece of wood up, just about to shut the doors then, because this will, if there's going to be anything going to happen, this is going to hold it in position, so it can't drop down with I know that joint should be right up there. It's not quite up. It is now. So I'm going to take these stairs out, dip down to works. Right, so it's following day now. It was late yesterday when I was doing the other one, so I've actually painted the back of it, and I fixed the block in the back, but because it was wet paint. So I'm now down to the DPC, and this is where most people forget to do, is to put the DPC in. So it's going across the back. I'm stapling it up the back. Main thing is it goes under the bottom, but I'm not stapling it under the bottom. I'm just going to let it run. So I'm cutting it off. This is a bit wider, but it's the only roll I've got, and I'm not buying another roll just to do this job. So now it's too wide. You see, I've gone up the back, so it goes behind that other piece. Then I'm going to cut it off in line with the side of the wood. I'm going to take this sideways to pull it under, because it might drag on the bottom, and then I'm just going to cut it straight up like that. So in other words, that's going to go behind the piece at the bottom, and that's going to go underneath there like that. I'll cut this off later, and not only that, I'll make sure that once I've cut this off and it's in position at round here, once I've painted it and it's all finished, well, I might do it after the primer actually, because it's going to be a while, because I've got garage door to do and everything. I'm going to silicone it round here and round the front and round there, because that's where the water gets in at the bottom, and that's what knackers them up. If this was a mullion on a window, this is the outside, the mitre would be there, but with it being a garage door, that's why the mitre's sideways on. So in other words, if you've cut it square across, and you like, because wood's breathing, you like it to get it more movement than if you've got it at an angle, because it's helping to push against it. But not only that, if you do get a leak or anything with it sloping downhill, you see I've painted this, I've also painted the back. This is the main part, is paint it before you put it in, because if it also helps the weather as well. But not only that, with it being at 45 degrees, it also helps to deflect the rain off of it as well. So it's like two whammies in one go. So next thing is I'm going to fit this in position, and that's going to screw it to the one behind, and then with the hammer drill those two are going to fasten it to the wall behind. Right, so I've tried it in and found it works okay, so I've cut the bit off that I thought I might need to pull. So I'm going to glue it now. This stuff works quite well. This is hard as nails. I've tested it under pressure before today and used it for all sorts of things, and it works quite well. Never had trouble with it. So I'm going to spread this glue out. In the olden days, when you were in the old glue kettle job, you used to have to rely on the paint as the glue. But it is advisable if you can get paint and glue on the back. It does. It's like you've sealed it and you've glued it, so you less chance of it moving around. I'm spreading it so that it doesn't take up as much space. Make sure I get some on the top of here. Not too much. Then we'll put it in. So I've got this to go up the back. Obviously I'm going to lose some of this glue's going to come out. Make sure this stays straight underneath. And that's it, it's in, ready for screwing up. Right, so check it with the spirit level, make sure that it's straight and it all lines up. Wipe the glue off with toilet paper, just works fine. Now it's time to fasten it in. These screws are going all the way through, right through to the back piece of wood as well. And then once we've got those on, it's time for the hammer drill. But I just check what size I'm putting in. Those aren't long enough. Are they? Yeah, I think they'll be fine. And then that's it. Once these are in, I may have to put a packing down the back. I've not checked the back yet. I don't think I will, because that's right up to the bottom. Sometimes I've got to put thin packings down the back just to make it solid. So then once this is in, it's belt sander, and then give it a coat of paint. I'm knocking that in so to make sure the plug is right in the wall, so I know the distance of the drill. So you see, if I put that against the side there, you can see the plug. If it was out there, the plug would be still in the wood. It isn't. It's right in the back. I'll check them by hand. If it's slipping, I don't know why. It must be a bad end that's on it. So I'll cut this off, and then that's finished with, because that's where it wants to be. And I say I'll silicone around there to make sure the water doesn't, if it puddles up here, it doesn't. So that's how most of them go, is because it's not been sealed there, silicone down the bottom, and it's not there's no DPC on it. I've even seen these PVU guys put complete wooden shop fronts in, no DPC behind. So obviously they're going to rot away because there's no damp proof course on them. So next thing is to sand these off so everything lines up, and then get a coat of primer on it. Actually, what I've decided to do is I've filled these. Make sure the glue runs in properly. So I'm going to wait until the glue sets, which will be later on today, and then I'll sand it up then. So I'll wait until the glue sets. I'm going to start on the one over the other side there, over there, and then come back to this one, because I'm doing both sides, so I'm not desperate for that. As I say, in the olden days, what they used to do is they used to do this, and in those days your glue was in a glue pot, so you definitely need to have it on site. So you relied on the paint, so it was just paint and putty, so any gaps were filled with putty, and then just paint it. Obviously we've got a lot further in those days, because in those days you were still using seaming chisels. Electric drills were just coming out of their massive things, but I reckon this is the best way to do it, as against having them square on, because as I say, it helps deflect the water, and they're both tying each other in, and the gaps are not as noticeable. A bit like the one where the guy on YouTube demonstrates how to fill a where there's been an injury, and he miters that both ways and makes it that bit bigger, so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, like if you just fill them in normally. So right, so I'm going to start on the other side. I'm not going to show you the other side. I might do a bit more on this side, but that's the main part of how to splice. And I say, if this was a window, this would be the outside, not facing this way, so it'll bevel up there and slope the opposite way. So going up here and up, so it'll go up, down, and then down again on the inside. But with being a door frame, I want to be fastening to the widest part really on here. I don't think it'd be, because it being only narrow and a piece of wood behind. In fact, I found out looking at the other side, they must have run out of wood, because the other side the wood finishes at this height as well. So the wood finishes at this height, and it's concrete and just filled in with I forgot what they call this stuff now. Right, the name I forgot was mastic. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to silicone this out to this level. But you've got to remember, it's got to be narrower one way and wider the other way, else it won't work, silicone. You can't have it 45 like this is. And then where all these gaps are here in the mastic, I'm just going to fill them with once I've got it loose, I'm going to fill them with silicone, so at all these gaps. Obviously, I've got to pull bits off where they need to come off. I'm not taking this mastic totally off, but silicone seems to last a lot longer than what mastic does. So I find I'm better off with silicone now than with mastic. Some people say they can't paint over it. I haven't had any trouble with it, but that's what I'm going to do. Right, I'm glad I didn't do this other side, because this one's been a lot harder. So I had to take the back off and got to cut bits out. And not only that, should have gone a bit harder, but it's solid as that bit there, but you can see it's slightly gone at that point there. So I'm going to treat that with this wet rot hardener, so it actually works okay. Also, I've got the brickwork. There's also totally loose here as well, so I'm going to have to remotor that back in again and chisel around on that side there to get it sorted out. Don't need so much for this. It's just that little bit there. And across the bottom here. It's quite solid. It's not. It's just, as you can see, just where the it's just started to rot slightly. Might just put a bit at the back as well. No, I don't think it's gone through to there. Another thing I've noticed is that where they've got this piece of wood behind, this joint has cracked all the way up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some demold on there. So it's going to go all up to the top, across the top, because it's got another piece of wood on top of there, and then down the other side, and that should, because I could actually be getting water coming in through there as well. So this is demold here. Obviously this is on my next garage. We'll redecorate this as well. You can see that's, but it's saved that where the joint is behind these two, as the demold has stopped the water getting in there. Right, so this garage straight in front of me is the one, sorry, the garage to the right is the one which I spliced both sides, and I'm quite pleased with the finish of that. And the right hand one, sorry, the left hand one, I spliced the left hand side of it, and the right hand side I just used filler and hardener on that one. So that's on another video. See link at the end of this one. Right, so we'll have a look at this one on the joints to see what they look like. I'm quite pleased with them. The only thing I'm not quite pleased with is it's about 50 flies have landed on the garage door, so I've got to get them off. So looking at the side here, I'm quite pleased with that. Right, so this was the bad side. You see it's come up quite well, and where the joint is, I've just put this demold which goes all the way around, so that's come out. Main thing is to make sure your silicone around the bottom here stop the damp sucking up from underneath. That's the main part of making sure that it's going to work okay. And then going across to the other side, that's fine as well. I don't think you can actually see the joint on. Well, you can't see the joint on either of them, and that's how they want to be. Yeah. Looking from the inside, you can see it nicely lines up with the frame. I don't know why they actually built it wider, made the gap wider than the door frame to fit the door, but that's what they did. If you notice, this piece of wood here stops, which is wider, stops there, and all that bottom half was just filled with foam and cement and God knows what else. But yeah, main thing is make sure you've got a damp proof course going down the back and also underneath. So that's the one which was the hardest one, but obviously it's the same as what I did the other side. So looking at the other side from inside, and as you can see, that's come up exactly the same. So see, I've made the frames go right to the very back of the so I'll just zoom in on that so you can have a closer look at it. And I don't think I can actually see the joint is actually here, but if it had been a house, I'd have made it even better than that, but with being my garage, that's fine for a garage. Right, so that's it. As I say, I've got another video on using filler and what's the best way to use one seal and its hardener. So good luck to you splicing on this, as I've shown on this video, and I hope it helps. You do some good, decent splicing. As I say, try and get the angle at around 45 degrees as against being horizontal, because if they're horizontal, expansion and contraction, water can get in with it. Splices going uphill, it's up. If you do get it to come away, it's helping to deflect water off. And also make sure you paint your joints as you put them together, so that helps as well to stop the water getting in. And don't forget to silicone around the bottom to make sure that it's sealed so you don't get any weather coming in.